Todd Callaway is with us this morning. He is the Director of Digital Content at Shaw Industries. It's great to have you back in this program. We were just talking before I turned this on that it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I'm excited to talk to you today.
And everything has changed since we talked last, I guess.
It has. That's the thing with the digital marketing world at large. I mean, it changes, seems like every month. And certainly it's a topic that we all need to be thinking about, learning about, and making decisions. So it's an area that gathers a lot of attention, and deservedly so.
So what that means, I'm going to invite you on here a good deal, I guess, because
that'll be good.
You know, a month from now,
it could change
a lot of
again.
These things will change.
Exactly.
Let me ask you first about the consumer. Everybody obviously has precepts about the consumer, what they're like. They've got all these devices that they use. I saw a study just the other day about the high percentage of actual purchases that were made on either tablets or handheld devices. Talk about the consumer, the shopper today.
Yeah, I think the consumer today has higher expectations about what they're going to find through digital means than ever. I mean, it has become a really important part of their process, and not even one that they're actively saying, okay, now I'm going to do my digital research. It is a part of their day-to-day in a way that there's not really a delineation between this is my digital research and this is my traditional research. That's not the way they're thinking. And I think that that's a testament to how digital has changed our lives. It's kind of hard to even imagine what it was like before we had all of these tools, all of this information right at our fingertips. So I think that it has dramatically changed the consumer behavior. It's changed the way we go about buying. It's changed everything. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's why this arena is so important, because these are changes that are affecting all of our buying decisions. Mm-hmm. And we need to be thinking, how do we react to them? How do we provide the information that people are looking for when they do that digital research? So you're exactly right in terms of what that digital age, how it's changed. Mm-hmm.
So then most consumers are probably on one device or another a good part of the time. And if they happen to be shopping for floor coverings, that's a part of their activities, or for shingles, that's it. But they're doing something almost all the time.
That's exactly right. And that there are multiple devices. They may be on a laptop at work, and they may have their mobile phone at lunch, and they may be on a tablet at night watching television. And they expect all three of those to work seamlessly. They don't really want to have one experience in one place and a completely different experience somewhere else. They expect to be able to continue their research or start it in one place and continue it somewhere else.
So how about the time frame? Say a typical, I'll use that word, but I don't know what that means. A typical shopper, do they take longer in the process of seizing on a particular floor covering than they used to?
You know, that's a good question, and I'm not sure that we can say specifically that they automatically take longer. I think because all of these various avenues of research are available to them, I think that they're taking advantage of those. I think that they are researching. I think that they're looking on product catalogs. They're researching different store websites, manufacturer websites. I think that they're taking advantage of those research opportunities. Mm-hmm. Whether or not they're spending more time in the process, I don't know that any of us can say. I think that we do know that it's a high consideration purchase. We've known that through the years, that they have a lot of things to think about as they go through it. And some components of that are purely design oriented. They may be looking to build in the next year and a half, and they start some of that process early. Yeah. Sometimes they may have an immediate need, and a basement is flooded and they need something that weekend. And I think it really runs the gamut between those two extremes. And I think that the way the shopping experience has changed dramatically is that they do have all of these various ways to help them decide whatever that need is, what their ultimate decision is going to be.
Are there various stages in the process, do you find? I mean,
I think so.
Discount the guy whose basement flooded.
I think, yes, there are definitely stages. There's that consideration phase, really kind of looking at the imagining what the possibilities could be, maybe even before budget comes into play. And then you've got the narrowing of choices where they're really starting to try to make the most practical decisions for their particular need. And then they really get into that decision-making process of, this is where I'm going to buy, this is the manufacturer's products that I'm looking at, this is the collection that has caught my eye. It's, I think that there are multiple phases, and I think what we found through the years, because it is a complex category and people do have a lot of questions about it, and they don't get a lot of experience through the years, because it's not like this is a purchase that they make frequently. I think that there is the potential that we could lose them at any stage of that process. Somebody may decide early on, you know what, this is overwhelming, I can't decide, and they might try to choose something else instead, or they may
buy a TV or something.
Buy a TV, take a vacation. You know, we hope that doesn't happen, but the fact is, because there are some complexities, I think that there is the potential that we can lose them at any stage, which makes the work that we do so much more important, because we need to be able to provide those answers that they're looking for, so that they don't feel overwhelmed. They don't feel like it's a question that they can't get an answer to. So I think
complicated. They don't know too much about floor coverings, I don't imagine. And I remember asking a lot of dealers about LVT and how popular that is, and they tell me that a lot of those decisions were made on the sales floor. They didn't know the category even existed until they saw it.
That's exactly right. I mean, that category has just grown exponentially in such a short period of time, and as a result, there's not even a consistent naming structure. You know, some people may say LVT, some people may say LVF for luxury vinyl flooring. We call it resilient. There is that category that they may have gotten a glimpse of it in different ways, and then when they're on the floor, in the store itself, they're able to learn a little bit more about it. But I think that's where a lot of this digital research comes into play. And what we want to try to do is educate consumers on those possibilities throughout their research, whether they are in that inspiration phase, whether they're really in that area where they're trying to narrow their choices, or they're at that point of, I'm ready to buy. And so if we can educate them through that process and let them know what their options are, talk to them about the reasons that LVT has emerged and has grown so quickly, there are just a lot of opportunities for us to make that complex process a lot easier.
And that
that's
process
our goal.
Could take weeks or months,
longer,
I suppose.
It could take weeks, months, or years. I mean, I think that we recognize that probably a couple of years process is the extreme, but I don't think it's out of the question at all. I think that you've got some people who may think, perhaps they've seen a beautiful floor and they think, that's exactly what I want. And then when they start researching, maybe they go through the process, you know what, I need to save a little bit more to get that. And so it becomes something that they do the next season or maybe the next summer. But there are definitely cases where that process goes from anywhere to 6 months to 2 years. I think that we've all seen those kinds of examples.
I'm going to use the word typical again.
Exactly.
Although discount the word typical.
That's
the
right.
meaning of the word typical, whatever that is. Where would you imagine people usually start? I mean, do people put in, if you're looking for wood or carpet or whatever it is, do they put in that? And it would seem to me that the best education would be on a manufacturer or supplier site. And I'm wondering if that's where they start the process.
I think they start by sitting at their computer and whichever search engine they use. We know the majority use Google. Most of them type a phrase into Google. I think that is the starting effort for not just flooring, but so many of our purchases. If there is information we're looking for, that becomes the starting point. And I think what we have to think about is when they type in the phrase carpet, when they type in hardwood for this type of environment, or LVT, we have to think about what is it that they're really looking for at that point. What do they need if they have sat at their computer and typed in that phrase? And I think if you're able to provide that kind of information, if you're able to answer their question in the best possible way, that's where you can gain momentum in this space. But I actually don't think consumers necessarily think, okay, I'm going to start at a manufacturer's site, or I'm going to start at a retailer site. I think they look at those Google results and they start at number one and look down the page. And whichever one feels like, oh yeah, that's the answer I was looking for. And I'm not sure that they're making the distinction early on between manufacturer, retailer, or advocate in some other way.
So if somebody puts in hardwood flooring with no locality,
right,
adjunct on that, you want to be pretty sure that you're going to end up on that first page.
That's exactly right. That's our goal. And when you think about what Google's goal is, their goal is to provide the most helpful information. And so I think that the digital arena has changed so much. In years past, there were a lot of ways to kind of trick the system in terms of search engine optimization. And so you got a lot of results that were not very helpful. But I think that the search engine goal and our goal as a manufacturer, I think that they're really closely aligned these days. I think we're wanting to provide that helpful information. So when they sit down at that computer and they type that phrase and they type hardwood flooring, we want them to see that we are an authority, a credible source, that we're providing the information that they're looking for, that will make their search, whether it's a 3-month search or a 2-year search, will make it easier. And that we can become a source that they feel good about and that they feel like, oh, they answered this question well, I want to go back to them.
What about the location part? If they put in hardwood flooring, Des Moines, Iowa, are you going to show up on the first page on that?
I don't know that we would automatically show up on the first page. No, I would love to think that we could. I think that the localization of a lot of digital marketing efforts in general, I think that that's a real important part of the evolution of the digital channel. That's what's happening currently. People now know to search more locally, and the results that they're finding are often based on those local efforts. So our hope is that at that point, one of our retailers' websites in Des Moines will be the one that will be served up. And I think it's an interesting approach. I think when the first interactive wave hit and we were all wanting to create that one experience, shawfloors.com, this is the hub, this is where all the information is. I think that it's changed a little bit. We recognize that people will find their information in a lot of places. And if that means a retailer's website, that we've been able to help them either power their website or give them information for their website, that's great. If they find us on a social media page where we've created another avenue to learn about us, learn what makes our products so great, they may find a blogger who has written about one of these products. I think that as the digital channel evolves, what we're finding is that the stories are told in a wide variety of places. And as long as we get that core educational helpful component out there, we don't mind where they find this information. We just hope that we're able to give them the answers that they are looking for.
It would seem like as a consumer, I would be more likely driven to a manufacturer site if I'm buying a stove or a refrigerator or an automobile, anything, floor coverings, than I would, say, a retail site initially, just to get educated.
That's right. So if you were to type in, like using your scenario, if you were to type in the Des Moines example, I think that's where you get a little bit more of a local approach. That's where you're finding the retailer who's selling the product. I think if you're just starting it with a really global phrase like hardwood flooring, that's where we hope that you'll find us, you'll find the information that we provide helpful. And that is where it's a more global type of search. And I think that what you're going to find is that some consumers start with that global search, some start with their street address. You know, they're looking for the closest avenue. And if that means going into a store that sells our products and gets their information from the retail sales associate, that's helpful too. If we're able to drive the consumers who are looking for information into our retailer stores, that's great.
But that's the whole idea.
It is.
I mean, is to get them in the store. And
That's
I
exactly
suspect
right.
it's probably hard put for a consumer to walk in a store that doesn't have a Shaw rack in there somewhere.
There are a lot of retailers that sell Shaw, and so absolutely we're eager to help those consumers who find us on whatever avenue, whatever channel they may be searching. If they're ultimately finding one of our retailers, we're thrilled with that.
Yeah.